the Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by The Lines and Play Picks, coming to you from Oakland, California. Josh Lander with my counterpart on the East Coast, Nate Weitzer. Giant slate tonight, Nate, about 11 games, I believe, with one postponed. Let's jump right into the lines for January the 27th.
Looking at all the games tonight, we have the Pacers -1 at Hornets, Pistons +2.5 at Cavs, Kings +1.5 at Magic, Nets -6 at Hawks, Nuggets -5 at Heat, Lakers -3 at Sixers, Bucks -6 at Raptors, Wizards +7 at Pelicans, Celtics -4 at Spurs, Thunder +7 at Suns, Mavs +2.5 at the Jazz, and the Timberwolves are +9 at the Warriors. So that's a lot to choose from, Josh. What are you most confident in?
Yeah, it is a lot to choose from, and somehow I feel the most confident in a game that pits the two best teams in each conference, in the Lakers and the 76ers. I'm looking mostly at the Lakers here. I really like what they do when it comes to playing against teams in the East, playing against teams with good records. They bring it, right? There's always a motivation factor with the champs and especially a LeBron James team in the regular season. And I think you see it here, which is continue to prove his dominance, especially against someone like Embiid and the powerhouse in the East. A few of the numbers just trending in the wrong direction for Philly in terms of, their last two outings against the spread. They lost. They are 4-7 in their last 11 against the spread. Simmons continues to struggle in a way that I think is actually somewhat significant despite putting up good rebound and assist numbers. And Embiid doesn't play as well when you can throw bodies at him like the Lakers have, obviously. I do think you'll be able to see them wear him down a bit. On the road, the Lakers play incredibly tough defense as they do pretty much everywhere this season. And AD has historically good numbers against Embiid as well, which I'm sure he'll be thrown on there for a few possessions here and there. So I like the Lakers -2 there. If I was going to go with a total, Nate, of 221.5, I'd go under because of how great these two teams are defensively. But I feel a lot more comfortable at the very least with -2 for the Lakers for sure.
Yeah, I think you're not alone because it's rising. It's at like -3.5 most places now. I love grabbing them early as soon as you can, guys, on the money line, parlaying them with other favorites you're confident in. But I do think that they can cover that 3 points. Yeah, just quickly to note, Embiid only averages 20 points per game in his 4 meetings with Anthony Davis, who's one of the rare guys that can actually match up with him. When the Lakers are motivated, you would see AD kind of bring that defensive intensity, and the rest of the Sixers have been really bad since their COVID outbreak. If Embiid doesn't carry them, they don't have much of a chance in this one. Looking at a game that's just intriguing from a betting perspective, not necessarily from a aesthetic perspective, but the Cavs and Pistons, they've been putting up a lot of points lately, and Vegas is kind of undervaluing their offense, I think, with a 214 over. We do like it going over that. The Cavs averaging 120 points per game, and they're 26th in defensive rating their last 4 games. That's after starting, surprisingly, in the top 5 in defensive rating in every category. So that's a pretty confident there. But what I'm even more confident in is Andre Drummond's prop bets. Going against his former team, first time he went for 23, 16, 5 assists, 4 steals, 3 blocks, and played 44 minutes. If you don't think he wants more of that, you're sadly mistaken. His points, rebounds, assists prop is 34.5 on DraftKings at close to even money. I'm gobbling that up early and definitely looking at him in DFS. He's seen a 33% usage rate his last 9 games, and that's despite adding Jared Allen recently. So I don't see how Drummond doesn't eat unless he gets into some foul trouble. That's a possibility, of course.
Always a possibility for him, but he's someone who imposes his will on the game, whether or not that's good or bad for his team sometimes. The only thing that would scare me with his props is the play of Colin Sexton recently. But if anything, that definitely adds to the over idea. And there does seem to be some of that revenge factor for Drummond, who's pretty big on social media and makes that abundantly clear. So no, I like the over, and I would also steer towards his props. I'm going to move along in the East Coast, at least for talking about your team here, Nate, the Boston Celtics, taking on the Spurs. And just to start it off, I don't believe in the Spurs this year. I've watched them play a number of times. They do have two good wins that stand out that allow them to sort of increase what their opponent's record is. In terms of the Lakers and the Clippers, they did beat the Lakers in a weird one that the Lakers seemed to be sleepwalking through, and the Clippers didn't have Paul George earlier in the season. Also, when the Spurs were playing a lot better offensively, which they no longer are. And if you look at who they've beaten this year, their combined opponents' record outside of the Lakers and Clippers is like 25 games below 500. So I do think they're capable of beating up on good teams, but as soon as you get to those mid-level teams like the Warriors and above, I don't believe in them. And frankly, the Celtics at full strength now, we're going to see them with Kemba. We're going to see them with Tatum in the lineup. Jaylen Brown has ascended to, there's a lot of candidates for most improved player, but he's definitely up there, as you predicted earlier this season. And as far as their offensive rating, their net rating is, about 4 total, subtracting their defensive rating and offensive rating from each other. The Spurs are about even money, on that. So I think it's a small spread. I'm not really sure why it's so small it started about -2.5. You can still grab it at about -4. And I really like that for the C's.
Jaylen Brown is the top candidate, hands down. We told you months ago, plus 3,000, bet on this man. Oh my God. Yeah, he is ascending fast. And some underrated points on the Celtics, Daniel Tice and Marcus Smart over their last 4 games. Smart has a 126 offensive rating, and that's just found money for the Celtics when he's producing. When he scores in double figures, they won 65% of their games the last 2 years. So yeah, I do like the Celtics as well, as you can tell, and would consider the over with the last 2 meetings between these teams hitting 243 and 240. And another over I like, one of my favorite pastimes, betting the over with the Kings. They've gone under 2 straight before they took the whole week off because the Grizzlies games were postponed. Those games are a bit of an anomaly. They were playing a Clippers team that was tops in net rating during that span, and the slow-paced Knicks. I think they get back to their high-scoring ways here after a layoff. I think De'Aaron Fox is a problem for young Cole Anthony. And the Magic have found their offensive rhythm since getting Evan Fournier back, taking some responsibility off Cole's shoulders. Aaron Gordon is going to crush Marvin Bagley, I think we can assume. And unfortunately for the Kings, they can't use Richaun Holmes on him because he's going to be occupied with Vucevic. Magic scoring 113 their last 3 games. I love it to get over 222 in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. To be honest with you, I do think the Magic are trending in the right direction. Kind of mentioned that when they got Fournier back, that was obviously huge for their offense. It was putrid before that. It's still nothing to really brag about, but they know who they are. They at least have some half-court sets when they have a 3-point shooter coming off double screens like Fournier often does. And he adds to Vucevic as well because when he gets into the lane, obviously he draws defenders. So I like the over pick, but I honestly feel even more comfortable with the Magic. I think the Kings are reeling, and I'm just waiting for Luke Walton to finally get his self fired off of that Kings bench. But Magic -1 would be a little bit stronger bet for me, but don't oppose the over at all. A couple of quick hits here, Nate. I just wanted to touch on the Warriors and the Wolves game tonight. Another game at Golden State. These teams played there a couple nights ago. The Warriors blew them out by 22, and a part of that is a couple of changes that you'll see to the Warriors lineup. Steve Kerr's been tinkering with that all season. And I think you finally found, one, Oubre has finally improved his 12.5% 3-point shooting. I think he's finally progressed to his mean. That's huge. And then what we also found the other night was Kevon Looney started instead of the rookie James Wiseman. They jumped out to a 16-4 run right away based on things like him being in the right position on offense, him being in the right spot on defense to play off of Draymond, who started playing that free safety role still. And at the end of the game, you're going to be weirded out to hear this, but Brad Wanamaker, the former Celtic, he's actually somewhat of a closer for this team. They found another guard who can come in with Steph, take the pressure off of him when he needs, to be coming off the ball instead of just handling it the whole time. And honestly, he's put up about a 102 offensive rating in the fourth quarter of the last couple of games. I'm pretty impressed with him. So I'm not sure if you like anything there, but I would be okay. Once again, with a nice big spread of -8 for the Dubs.
Yeah, if D'Angelo Russell's out, sure. The Wolves are the worst team in the NBA if they don't have their top 2 guys. Absolutely. So by all means. Yeah. And I think we also like the over in the Raptors Bucks game quickly. It's at 223. I think that's a little biased based on last year when these teams were top two in defensive rating. They're nowhere near that this year, and Toronto's really struggling to defend the paint. So we know Giannis is going to get his in that matchup. And then moving to the DFS angle, obviously you guys know we like Drummond tonight. He's only 8.8K on FanDuel. I think you have to get John Collins or Clint Capella in there against the Nets struggling interior. So if you go with Drummond, maybe go with Collins at power forward. There are some appealing values at power forward, including Daniel Tice, Jarrett Vanderbilt for the shorthanded Wolves, and Aaron Gordon. And then look at the Suns for some value with Devin Booker out. CP3 is going to be a pretty solid play, but I think you can get more multiplier on your value with guys like Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, or Cam Johnson. See how they fit into your lineup in a good matchup for the Suns.
Nice. I like it. Big slate tonight, Nate. I know we're all going to be watching. Remember to like and subscribe for us if we're continuing to bring you those winners. We are cruising above 500, especially the last 5 or 6 games, nights rather. We've been hitting some pretty good props and definitely bringing you enough winners. Keep coming in those comments. Enjoying to see what you guys bet. I saw a 3-team parlay hit last night. That was awesome on a small slate. So congrats. And we'll keep chiming in for you guys. Be back tomorrow and happy betting tonight.
Celtics, Lakers, Warriors, parlay it.